like what is the process like for breeding spiders? Like that's so interesting and cool.
So, I mean, it's tough. It's not like super tough to necessarily mate them, but a lot of times, for example, like when you're breeding your jumpers, like my breeders, I don't necessarily label them just as breeders. Like they're actually my spiders. So like I have specific spiders, like there's dark ones, there's light phases, there's different type of phases. So they're like my pet ones, and so I'll usually mate them with another one of my boys that I have around. So it's a little bit hard just because a lot of the times the females tend to try to eat the boys. So you have to keep an eye while
Yeah.
they're doing the do to
Yes.
make sure that your male doesn't get eaten. I thankfully have never had a casualty, but you do have to keep an eye on them while mating. I always suggest to like make sure that they're well fed right before. Keep an eye to see how like the females reacting to the males dance because they do a little performance dance for them to kind of entice them to
That's
want to
cool.
mate with them. And then after that, you know, like they'll lay a couple sacks from that pairing, and you'll have a ton of babies. So like it ranges anywhere. Like I've had some of my small clutches be like 30 babies in a clutch, where I've had some that have been like 150 plus babies in a clutch.
Wow.
It's
That's quite the range. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can it's like kind of a gamble how many you get, and she'll lay from that pairing a couple of different egg sacs.
Oh
And
wow.
it's not like multiple at once. It's usually she'll lay one, and then like you know she'll be in there in the hammock in the nest with the babies and stuff, and then the babies will end up coming out, and that's kind of when she moves on and she goes on to her next sac when she feels like laying it. Um, Raising the babies, man, they're so small. They're so cute, but they're so tiny. So you just have to make sure you take the proper steps with it. They eat fruit flies at first because they're so tiny. So, like, I mean,
Right.
those fruit flies, the death of me. Um,
How do
but
you yeah, sorry, keep going.
no, it's okay. But once you get them a little bit bigger, they're easy peasy to take care of. I mean, like, jumping spiders are so low maintenance. Honestly, I feel like tarantulas in general are pretty low maintenance. Um, but yeah, the baby stage is a little tough.
So, like, yeah, that does sound hard. How do you like? Do they like? Can you just buy fruit flies, or like, do you have to find like? Okay, yeah,
Yeah, so you can buy fruit flies. A lot of the times, I will get them either from my expos. A lot of people culture their own. I don't necessarily like culturing my own just because it's a little bit of a messy process. And
yeah,
thankfully for me, like I have a local expo that's every 2 weeks, so I'm able to just get them from like trustworthy breeders that are like doing these cultures of fruit flies for me, or like different bugs. Like when they're older, they eat like crickets, they can eat mealworms, they can eat waxworms, they can eat moths, different things like that.
awesome. Wow,
Yeah.
that's so cool. I love that. Yeah, we had a infestation of fruit flies in my house, so I can imagine the mess that could possibly go into that if
Oh God,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, thankfully, when they culture them, like the breeders, they'll make them flightless. So that's like the one perk that I can say about getting them
Oh,
from like someone that's at an expo, or like when you're culturing your own from ones that are coming from an expo, or even from like a breeder and you're getting them shipped to your house, that they're thankfully modified to be
very
flightless.
very cool. Oh, that definitely makes it that makes it easier. That's good. Yes.
Yeah.
How long do they usually live for? Like I guess like first jumping spiders and then tarantulas.
So, jumping spiders, females usually live about 2 to 3 years. I've had most of mine for about 3 years. Males live about 1 to 2 years. So, it's a short life. As to tarantulas, depending on the type of species you have, tarantulas, males is the same thing, where like males live always a little bit shorter than the females. So, like, males can live like anywhere from like 3 to like 7, 5 years, just kind of depends. And then the females can live like anywhere from like 9 to like 20 years.
Oh, that's so cool. Wow. So such a range because I mean they are pretty different sizes, right, too. So I guess that makes sense
Different
that the
sizes, different species from all over the world. You can find stuff too. So it's really interesting how like how different jumping spiders like lifespan is compared to tarantulas.
that's so